All right, so I am going to call the special meeting of the Willits City Council order at, it's February 3rd, and it is about 6:36. So we will have Kim will be our city clerk today, and she will call the roll.
All right. Gonzalez?
Here.
Connie?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Present.
And Strong?
Here. Okay, I guess we aren't doing a pledge to the flag because it's a special meeting. So, going onward, we are meeting in accordance with the governor's executive orders regarding being able to meet electronically during COVID. And so let's move on to our second item, which is the presentation of a proclamation. I hope that we have Evelyn here. Is she here?
Yes.
Okay, great. I will read the proclamation. It is a great honor to present this proclamation of the Willits City Council, recognizing Edith Canyo Keenan Ceccarelli, I hope I pronounced that correctly, as 113 years young. Whereas it is the privilege of the Willits City Council to acknowledge and honor you, Edie, as you turn 113 years young. We would officially like to recognize that you have had the privilege of celebrating the most birthdays in Mendocino County. Born in Willits, California on February 5th, 1908. And whereas the community of Willits will be helping you celebrate your special day with a drive-by parade on February 5th. This will be a truly memorable event as friends and loved ones will extend their love, respect, and honor you on your birthday. Your lifelong love of people has enriched all of those whose lives you have touched. And whereas at the age of 113, you continue to wine and dine, dress to the nines, and love the sounds of the big band music each and every day. Now, therefore, I, Matt Strong, Mayor of the City of Willits, along with Vice Mayor Sabrina Rodriguez and Council members Larry Stransky, Gerardo Gonzalez, and Greta Connie, do hereby extend our collective heartfelt congratulations to you, Edie Ceccarelli, in wishing you a happy birthday. And I signed that proclamation, and I'm hereby entrusting Evelyn Persico to present this to Edie. And Evelyn, would you like to say a few words?
Well, I want to thank you very much for the proclamation. You know, Edie is just an amazing woman. She loves Willits. She has just supported Willits in so many ways. She loves the kids, and you know, this drive-by parade is just surreal. I think it's just going to be really nice, and the weather is I think going to be make it possible for her to be out on their front entry area along with their 6 residents. So I think she's going to be able to enjoy it, and she'll be dressed up warmly. But you know, it's a closed down facility, and so you know we can't get really close. But it's going to be a great day. So I hope you all can make it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Evelyn. And yes, Jerry.
For the purposes of everybody that doesn't know exactly what time the drive-by is going to be and the address, be Evelyn to provide that for us.
Well, I can't believe you haven't seen it in the paper, but it's 414 Grove Street. And as far as what Suzanne, who is heading up the celebration on Friday, she was going to try to get the city council and the dignitaries, you know, and that part of the started a little bit before the public is 1 o'clock, and even though the paper said 1 to 1:30, I think it's going to take a lot longer than that, or I think there's going to be quite an outpouring of love and support for Edie. So you should. I thought Suzanne would have contacted you, but anyway, it's 1 o'clock. But I think she wants you guys beforehand. But that'll come from her. I'm not going to change anything that she's doing.
I received an email from her, and she wanted me to, if possible, drive a city vehicle and show up about 12:30, just so whoever the official folks can be there at the beginning. And if anyone wants to join me at that time and show up at 12:30, I think there'll be a place as you go into the Hale Creek subdivision. It'll be obvious where to stop and wait for the session to start.
I think they're going to try to be up, probably for the dignitaries, all that up close to their hospital garden area. But, it's hard to know how many townsfolk will be there early. But Suzanne, we were meeting at Edie's yesterday at the house, and she had said she hoped, that she could get the city people and the police department, the fire trucks, and whoever was, at the head of the line, to be there 12:30 to, get started so that they're going around before 1 o'clock. And so that's all I know. So whatever she notifies you guys, I think, that you should, I'm not changing anything. So I think between 12:30 and, that's a good time to start, because I think she just wanted to make sure that it was on time and probably get you guys ahead of it a little bit. We're just kind of, I said this is going to unfold. It's one of those things that's not going to be cut and sewn, but time-wise, I think 12:30 is a good time to shoot for.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, and
Amanda heard several times today and yesterday, and she seems to have it very well organized. And the last I heard from her today was be there at 12:30 because the beginning of the parade can start at 12:45.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
city council members come at 12:30, and we will be at the front of the parade. It's going to be quite memorable because how many people get a parade in front of their house?
I don't think in your lifetime you're going to see it again. I can't believe it's happening. She was 107 and a half when she went to Holy Spirit Care Home. And who would have thought that we would be celebrating 113? And I wouldn't be surprised if there's 114. She's an amazing help, and she's just a healthy woman, and she loves that red wine with her meal. That's one of the things she attributes it to. So,
well, and I know she was a dancer up until just a few years ago, and I think that has to have a lot to do with it.
Oh, she was always very active. She loved to be outside. She was a walker. She walked downtown from her place on West Mendocino, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. And that's probably, in front of where you go to Brookside School. So down to Main Street, and then around town. She probably walked a good mile or so or half a mile at least each trip downtown or more. So, no, she's been always physically active.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Evelyn, for passing along our well wishes, and we will all be there on Friday.
Well, that is great. waving to you guys all too. So we'll just see you Friday.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you get the proclamation, the framed proclamation?
I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow at the chamber. Yeah. Tomorrow.
Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm gonna sign off then.
All right. And,
Okay. Well.
Okay.
I'll go ahead.
I just wanted to also just take a moment to have all of us send our absolute best wishes to Ron Moorhead and Kathy for what they're going through right now, and hope for absolute the best that they can go through this.
I know.
Yeah.
My heart all breaks for them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, we'll see you Friday.
Okay.
I'll be waving. Okay.
Good. All right. So moving ahead.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Our next item on the agenda is a summary of the proposed Little Lake Fire District impact fees and scheduling of adoption hearings. And I imagine this is going to be a Chris Wilkes item. And I see Chris is here. Is that you, Chris? You're going to walk us through this?
It is, but when you guys are hearing my voice, it's probably going to come off of one of the phones. I'm having trouble with my computer, but I am here.
Great. Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, Council, thank you very much for having this on the agenda tonight. I really appreciate Brian for getting it before you. This process has been long and semi-painstaking to get put through. We've been working on this Nexus study for over a year. The final Nexus study was put together in May of 2020. Little Lake Fire is in a little bit of a unique situation in that we have our impact fee, which is exactly the same Nexus study, needs to be adopted through the city and through the county as we serve in both those jurisdictions. The idea behind the impact fee is nothing more than to keep the same level of service that we provide now. If there were, or when there is, hopefully, growth within our community, it's to assist the fire district into making sure that we can keep the infrastructure, the equipment, and the facilities at the same level as we see growth happen. It's been put together through SCI. It's a consulting agency to put together the package through us. And it's the same consulting agency that provided the package for Hoplands Fire District, Anderson Valley Fire as well. I'm open for any questions. Again, this Nexus study is just for new development. When we have new development, and it's not a staffing money. It's for facilities, infrastructure, and for set my radio off, and for new equipment when need be. And I'm here to field any questions about the Nexus study. I know that it was in the agenda packet, and there was a very good summary of the Nexus study on what it can and can't be used for, what it is for, on page 16 of the study.
Okay. I see Jerry Gonzalez. Would you go ahead?
Chris, so basically this is on for you to explain this to us, but you're going to have to come back to us for a resolution. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. In order for us to get a Nexus study approved, the city has to have an ordinance that allows for impact fees. And currently we don't have that. Blair from our consulting agency has worked hand in hand with Jim Lance in order to put together the language that needs to be go through the public hearing process in order to make this possible. But yes, one thing I wanted to add too, it's not our intent that the city collect the fees for us. We would collect the fees in our office, and let's say somebody wanted to come in and do a big subdivision or some kind of new development, we would just supply a letter saying that those development fees were paid before that project would move forward.
And there will need to be 2 hearings on the actual formal thing when we adopt it. Is that correct? Go through 2 readings?
That's correct.
Okay. And this is not the first of that. This is just informational at this point.
Just informational.
All right. Yes, Greta, Connie.
I guess just my question is, and maybe you already answered this, Chris, it sounds like work has already been done with Jim to prepare the language, but will any other staff be required to spend time drafting the ordinance, or is that done essentially?
No, I'm under the impression that that language has been drafted and is done.
Thank you.
Okay, so anybody from the public want to either comment or ask any questions about this? All right, then we will move on to our next item, number 4, which is adoption of resolution authorizing change of authorized signatures for the City of Willits checking account, payroll account, and safe deposit box at Savings Bank of Mendocino County. And I'm imagining this is a Brian Bender item. Is that correct?
Correct. So this resolution takes into acknowledgement my presence, and it adds my name to the authorization list.
That makes sense. I don't know if we have any questions or comments from council members on this. Pretty straightforward. I guess Jerry Gonzalez.
I just wanted to staff recommended that resolution.
You're making it.
You want to make a motion?
Moved by Councilmember Gonzalez and seconded by Greta Connie. And there's no public comment and no other questions. So, Kim, would you do a roll call vote on this?
Yes. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Connie?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mayor Strong, sorry.
Yes. All right. And the second one, not second, but the next one, number 5, adoption of resolution authorizing certain city staff to transfer funds between the local agency investment fund and Savings Bank of Mendocino County. This is very similar to the item we just did, and I don't suppose there needs to be any more explanation of that either. Would someone like to make a motion?
Wallace makes a motion.
Okay. And Connie seconds it. Okay, we have a motion and a second. And just last call in case anyone has a question. Not, we will again do a roll call vote. So, Kim, would you do that?
Okay. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Connie?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mayor Strong?
Yes. All right. I see Bob Peralta's here. Welcome.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay. So next item is a resolution appointing representatives to represent and vote on behalf of the city at the League of California Cities Redwood Empire Division business meetings and Division Legislative Committee meetings. And Jerry, do you want to just explain it all, what that involves, just briefly?
Basically, I'm your representative to the League of Cities, and when they do the Redwood meetings up here, I attend and represent the city. Usually you get copies of, Sarah sends it out to everybody, so what's happening. If not, then get a hold of me and I will ask questions, or if there's something. Most of the time it's you're voting as a body up here. I have not attended any of the state meetings in the past. Obviously, have the money to do that. And I basically just attended all over the county. And for COVID, I was doing Sonoma County and Humboldt County. I think, did I ever make it past the city? I don't think I did. That's fun. And in my absence, or if I haven't been able to go, Larry would attend, and Larry's attended via Zoom on one occasion. So you're basically your designated representatives never be the alternate.
I certainly appreciate that you do that and report back to us when things are happening through the League of Cities, because they're really important to us as a small city. So I greatly appreciate you doing that.
The big thing with the League of Cities is that it's all about local control and maintaining local control.
Yeah, and they really watch what's going on in Sacramento, and it's really an important function that we band together with all the cities in the whole state to influence and protect our local rights. Okay, any other questions or comments? And Greta?
I move to accept the recommended action.
Thank you. Would someone like a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, seconded by Vice Mayor Rodriguez, and let's do a roll call vote.
Okay. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Connie?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Mayor Strong?
Yes. Congratulations. Thank you for your service. Item 7 is a revised employment agreement between Fabian Lizarraga and the City of Willits. And City Manager Bender, would you like to introduce this item?
Yes. So what we're looking at here is an amendment to the original document that was presented to the council and approved back in November of 2020. There was a small item that was identified subsequently, and there was no way around it due to the CalPERS provisions. And so essentially what we are trying to do with this agreement, there's no changes to terms of service or any other provisions of the agreement. It recognizes the 10% increase in salary that was presented to the entire police department at the end of last year, and this would be transferred to Chief Lizarraga.
Okay. And Chief Lizarraga, did you want to add anything to this or not?
No, I appreciate Mr. Bender's efforts in this, and doing everything the city could in order to be fair to both myself and the city. So, thank you.
And we're really, really grateful to have you as our
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So, any questions from council or from public? If not, I will entertain a motion. Gary Gonzalez.
I'd like to move that recommendation, and it sounds like we're following the law and right by our chief, and make sure the city's following the rules. So.
Okay. And Greta, would you like to second?
I'll second.
Okay. Been moved and seconded, and since there's no further comment, we will again do a roll call on the staff recommendation on item 7.
Okay. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Connie?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mayor Strong?
Yes. All right. We're moving along here. Item 8 is approve the proposal from Bob Murray and Associates to conduct a recruitment for a chief of police. And City Manager Bender, would you talk about that?
Certainly. So what we're looking at here is an item that one of the first initiatives I was assigned my new tenure here with the City of Willits is to start the formal recruitment process for a chief of police. I just want to say that does not discredit Chief Lizarraga. Him and I are working very well together, and I hope we can continue the relationship. But this is an item to bring in Bob Murray and Associates. I think that they have worked with the council and the city and the community in the past. Most recently, when I was chosen to
I just wanted to point out to the public that as an alternative, the council could decide to direct staff to prepare a request for proposal to solicit submissions from other executive teams other than Bob Murray and Associates, but that would delay the process of finding a police chief by maybe up to a few months. So the council is considering this option to shorten that length of time.
Yeah, so what I did was I actually reached out to the city attorney, Mr. Lance, and we both agreed that with the relationship that Bob Murray and Associates has developed with the city over time, and the trust that you have with the firm and their expertise, that we can continue without soliciting responses to a formal RFP process.
Thank you for pointing that out, both of you. Any other, Jerry, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to make a statement that Bob Murray and Associates, as well as was a headhunter firm, but they are well familiar with our community. I believe Joel will be our representative, and he has been here a couple times and has got a pretty good feel for what we as a community are looking for.
Right. Okay, any other comments or questions from public? All of these items are public hearings, so if anyone wants to speak to it, they can. And seeing and hearing none, we are going to have a motion on this item. A motion, Jerry?
I so move staff recommendation.
Thank you. Anybody? Yes, Greta, are you?
I'll second.
Okay. Moved and seconded, so we will do a roll call vote again. Thank you, Kim.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Connie,
Yes.
Stransky,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
and Mayor Strong.
Yes. All right. Item 9 is authorizing the city manager to negotiate with Bob Perrault regarding his ability to facilitate 2 forthcoming city council retreats. And why don't you, Ryan, why don't you start, and then I see.
I will start, and I'm glad that Bob is present. I think the word negotiate is a little strong on the agenda. Bob and I have been conversing. I think there's a good relationship that's already started to form. Bob has an excellent understanding of this community and organization, and he has expressed his willingness to come in and facilitate these sessions that the council are looking to accomplish.
Do you want to just flesh out a little bit what these sessions are going to focus on? Or not?
Well, the first one, we're still working on the sequencing. The first one is a goal setting, prioritization of various strategies, implementation, getting a gauge of where the organization is on various projects, where we need to allocate resources, both financially, materials, and staff, over a length of time. We want to project where we are now, where we need to be in time frames that range from months to years, almost essentially set a blueprint for the organization. And you need input from the council, staff, and the public. So, and that's kind of the odd thing here. This type of event is perfectly suited to personal engagement, inviting the public to the community center and solicit and obtain their comments. Right now with COVID, we're kind of handicapped a little bit with our ability to reach out and engage all those parties and those entities that I just described. So Bob and I have our work cut out in front of us, trying to collect as much of the comments and engage the public as much as possible, still maintaining social distancing and making sure everyone's safe throughout the process. So that's the first one. The second one is a session that we're still working on forming
sessions, and it's just, I guess, a question of how to do them in the COVID era is challenging. But if anyone can do this, I think Bob Rawls is the guy to do it. Bob, do you want to say a few words? We really, as you know, we so much appreciated it when you were our interim city manager, and we know that you know our community and a lot of us personally, and we have great confidence in you.
Well, Madam Mayor, members of the council, first of all, it's good to see you all again after almost years. Doesn't seem that it's been quite that long. And, it is for me a real honor that, you've expressed the interest in retaining me to help you out. A couple of things that I've enjoyed the initial discussions with Brian at this point. A couple of things that come to mind, I'll just point them out. As you've already mentioned, whatever we do is going to have to follow COVID requirements as well as public meeting requirements. That's certainly the case. And I'll be working with both Brian and the city attorney to make sure that we've got all of that met. The other thing I just wanted to point out, it's always up to the council's preference, but in my mind, in terms of sequencing these two sessions, probably communications should come first because you want to make sure that the communications are all well and set up, especially as you're approaching goal setting. To that end, what I've been thinking about, and again, it's dependent on COVID requirements, but initially I would want to come up and in short order, quickly, meet with each of the council members, as well as the city manager, and just so I can really do a good job of honing in on what your individual expectations are. I think from that, I can probably help facilitate communication. I think that should be pretty, done in as quickly as we possibly can orchestrate them. And then I think, once you've got through that, then from my perspective, going into the goal setting would be a lot easier to accomplish. And it's going to have some interesting challenges because of COVID. Interestingly enough, I'm participating as a citizen in some of these virtual meetings within my own city. So it's been good to get a little bit of a different perspective on that. I'm certainly available to answer any questions of me you might have right now, and I certainly look forward to working with all of you in the coming days and weeks.
Great. That sounds good. I wanted to also mention, for if there's anybody out in the public that isn't aware of this, that about a year ago, so pre-COVID, we did have a priority setting session in City Hall, and there were all sorts of charts up on the wall, and everybody put stars by the ones that they thought were the most important, and all of that raw data essentially is, Brian has it in his office there. So one of the things that could be done is to at least sort of review that and see a bunch of the stuff has probably already been done, and some of it is, Anyway, so that'll help when we get to the priority setting to have at least the partial head start that we got a year ago. It never got really processed, and it never came back to us as recommendations. So I'm looking forward to that. I like your idea, Bob, of working on one-to-one with council members on kind of what they have in mind, concerns, and ideas that they have as a precursor to the communication workshop. So, other comments or questions from council members? Rena?
I just wanted to say, as far as the first meeting that Bob recommending the communication one for council. I sort of see that as an opportunity as, I mean, I'm not a sports fan, but let me just throw this out there, post-game analysis. You know, we've just passed the torch from one city manager to the next. We're getting to know Brian. We're all learning to work together. And so I sort of welcome the opportunity of having a chance for the council to look at what worked and what didn't work and what sort of habits we can build to make our relationship with Brian even stronger and move the city in a positive direction. So that's what I'm looking for that first meeting.
Thank you.
Larry, did you have a comment?
No, I agree with what Greta had to say, and I just think it'll be a nice time, and I think we all need to get together and face each other and to be able to look and talk and be very truthful about the way the direction of the city goes. Thank you.
If it's primarily a sort of in-house, although it's got to be public underground act, but if it's primarily the players that are kind of involved in this, I think we could do it in the community center. But if depending on how big of a audience wants to attend, then that's a different thing. But for goal setting, I definitely want it to be open, very open to public input. So that's a challenge that you and Brian will work on. Any other comments from council members? Yes, Jerry?
Number one, I wanted to thank Greta because she kind of germinated this idea a couple of months ago and mentioned Bob. And I think she reached out to Bob at one point, and we all trust Bob, and she's the right person to hold our hand as we navigate this process. And I think looking back on some of the things that got flushed out, I guess almost a year ago, is that the things locked down right away. So I think a couple of things may have, like Matt said, may have already happened. Didn't know where we sat financially. So obviously the landscape's changed a little bit, and obviously technologically you guys can figure out if it is a deal where all of us maybe meet in the council when we finally do this, council chambers or whatever, and then film us, the public, vice versa, we do something different. I'll leave that up to you guys. But then lastly, I would like to move staff's recommendation.
Were there any other comments before we got a motion? Anyone?
Yes. This is Sabrina. I'd just like to say that I agree with what Greta said, but also, the purpose of the meeting for me is about finding out what our strengths are amongst the group and figuring out how we can use success to move the city forward, coming up with a common vision so that when we get to the goals, we have a general idea of what is it that we value most and what can we bring, what aspects we bring forward that will help in the goals that we're going to set. And looking for more of the organizational role conversations around that.
For the communication session, is that right?
Yes, very much.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. So, who would like to second Jerry's motion?
I would, Larry.
Okay, Larry's got it. All right. If there's no other comments from council members or the public, we'll do another roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Connie,
Yes.
Stransky,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mayor Strong.
Yes. Before we adjourn, which we're pretty much at right now, Brian mentioned to me recently the idea of having the second of our two meetings, of our two monthly meetings, the one at which we have reports from all the different department heads, the major departments, so that we don't have to have it on the agenda for every meeting. So that would be on the second of our 2 meetings a month. At the first meeting, any department that has an item on the agenda, of course, would present that item. But does that, Brian, do you want to just see if anyone has any comments?
It's kind of a work in progress right now. What I would like to do is adjust the agenda a little bit. So that second monthly meeting where you have the various department input and reports, what I would like to do is work with department heads to standardize a reporting form, and then they would put down their monthly highlights, and then that will go into the packet, so you would have that in advance. And then during the actual council session, if a council member or a member of the public doesn't have any specific questions on that department head's report, you can either provide a really brief summary of that, or we can go into further detail. It's just basically a means to improve the functionality of passing communication and information from the department head level to the public to the council.
Any comments about that from council members?
This is Larry. I think that's a really good idea.
One other question on, are we going to have the mid-year, or whatever we're calling it, the budget review and amendments? Is that going to be at this a week from tonight?
It's going to be on the February 10th agenda.
Okay.
And all its glory with the grand numbers.
Okay, and I know that we all appreciate getting that as early as possible, so I'm hoping Friday that we at least have the whole weekend, and if it's possible. So, yeah.
Andy will be here on Friday. I received an early draft today. Late in the afternoon, they wanted to pull it back. There was still some corrections with the numbers, but hopefully maybe tomorrow afternoon we can get the revised budget out separately so you can dive into it.
Great. Okay. Well, I think that is all of our business for tonight. Amazingly, we'll probably have a longer meeting next week.
There's more substantial content that you will be looking at. One thing is the budget, so.
Yes. Okay. So thank you, Kim, for being our clerk tonight, and thank you everybody for attending. And look forward to seeing you all again in a week.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks, Bob.
We are adjourned at 7:22.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. See you soon.